It was an ordinary evening as I made my way home from work, the city's hustle and bustle fading into the background. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch out and linger, as if reluctant to release the day. As I walked along the dimly lit street, a shiver crept down my spine, an inexplicable feeling that someone was watching me. I quickened my pace, dismissing the unease as a figment of my imagination. But the sensation persisted, a prickle of awareness that whispered of unseen danger. And then, as I passed an alleyway, I saw him, the guy with the friendly smile. He was standing there, leaning casually against the wall, his lips stretched into a grin that was just a touch too wide, too forced. His eyes bore into mine, a piercing blue that seemed almost too vivid for the fading light. His clothing was nondescript, but it was his demeanor that sent a shiver down my spine. He looked harmless enough, but there was an unsettling intensity about him, an aura that raised the hair on the back of my neck. I tried to avert my gaze, to shake off the irrational fear that gripped me, but it was as though his eyes were magnetic, pulling me in. It was more than curiosity. It was a compulsion, a need to decipher the mystery behind that unnerving smile. As I continued walking, my steps felt heavier, burdened by an invisible weight. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was following me, his presence lurking just beyond the edge of my awareness. I stole glances over my shoulder, catching glimpses of him in the shadows, always at a distance that seemed too close for comfort. With each step, my heart pounded, the rhythm of my fear echoing in my ears. I turned into my apartment building, hoping to find solace in the familiarity of my own space. But as I stepped into the dimly lit lobby, a figure stood by the mailboxes, the guy with the friendly smile. I froze, the world around me narrowing to his unsettling gaze. He didn't speak, didn't move. He simply stood there, his smile unchanged, as though waiting for something. Panic clawed at my chest, and I forced myself to take a step back. This was more than a chance encounter. This was something darker, something that defied explanation. I stumbled back out of the building, my breath coming in ragged gasps. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. Was he a stalker? A predator? Or was I simply losing my grip on reality? I fumbled for my phone and dialed 911, my voice shaking as I reported the man's unsettling behavior. While on the phone, I retreated to a nearby coffee shop, my eyes darting to every passerby, every movement outside the window. The police assured me they would send an officer to check the area, but even their words couldn't soothe the unease that had settled deep within me. Time stretched on, the minutes feeling like hours as I watched the coffee shop entrance, half expecting the guy with the friendly smile to stroll in at any moment. But when the officer finally arrived, he found no trace of the man, no one matching his description, no sign that he had been there at all. The officer took my statement, his expression a mixture of concern and skepticism. He promised to keep an eye on the area and advised me to stay vigilant. As he left, I felt a sinking feeling in my gut, a sense that I was alone in this, that the threat was real, but it was one that only I seemed to perceive. Days turned into weeks, and the memory of the guy with the friendly smile continued to haunt me. Every shadow felt like a potential hiding place, every stranger a possible threat. I changed my routines, taking circuitous routes to and from work, avoiding places that felt vulnerable. Sleep became elusive, my nights punctuated by nightmares of that unrelenting grin. One evening, as I returned home, I caught a glimpse of him again, a fleeting image in the reflection of a storefront window. He was there, watching, always just out of reach. I confronted him, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and fear. "Why are you doing this?" I demanded, my hands clenched into fists. His smile didn't waver. Doing what, exactly? I stumbled back, my pulse racing. It was as though he was taunting me, toying with my sanity. I wanted to scream, to confront him with the terror he had inflicted upon me, but my voice caught in my throat. "You see me," he said, his voice an eerie whisper. "But do you truly see me?" And then he was gone, disappearing into the crowd, leaving me to grapple with his cryptic words. It was more than a question. It was a challenge, an invitation to look beyond the surface, to unravel the layers of his unsettling presence. Days turned into months, and I became consumed by an obsession. I scoured the internet, delving into missing person reports, unsolved mysteries, and urban legends. I pored over forums, searching for any trace of the guy with the friendly smile, hoping to find answers to the enigma that had taken over my life. But the more I searched, the deeper the rabbit holes seemed to go. There were stories of encounters with a man who matched his description, tales of eerie smiles and unsettling gazes. Some claimed he was a malevolent entity, a harbinger of doom, while others believed he was a symbol of one's own inner demons. I couldn't escape the feeling that he was something more than a mere human, something that defied explanation. And as I delved deeper into the stories, I found that those who had encountered him shared a common thread, a sense of unease, a feeling that he was more than he appeared. One night, as I pored over a particularly disturbing account, I heard a noise outside my window. My heart pounded as I approached cautiously, peering into the darkness. And there he was, the guy with the friendly smile, standing in the moonlight. My anger and fear had transformed into a desperate need for answers. I flung open the window, my voice quivering but resolute. "Who are you?" I demanded. He turned to me, his grin still unnaturally wide. "I am a reflection of your fears, your doubts." My breath caught in my throat. It couldn't be true. He was real, he was there. But his words struck a chord deep within me, resonating with a truth that I had been avoiding. The guy with the friendly smile was a manifestation of my own anxieties, a mirror to the darkness that resided within. As I looked at him, truly looked at him, I realized that he was no external threat. He was a part of me, a creation of my own mind, born from the depths of my subconscious. He was the embodiment of the unease that had plagued me for so long, a representation of the fears I had been avoiding. Tears welled in my eyes, a mixture of relief and realization. The guy with the friendly smile was a reminder that the only way to conquer my fears was to confront them head-on. He was a challenge to embrace the darkness within and find the strength to overcome it. With a newfound resolve, I closed the window, and for the first time in months, I felt a sense of clarity. The unease that had once consumed me began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of empowerment. The guy with the friendly smile was no longer a source of dread, but a catalyst for transformation. And as I moved forward, I carried his unsettling grin with me, not as a reminder of fear, but as a reminder of the strength that comes from facing one's own demons.